Good morning. I can't tell you the first time I came to UCG. Perhaps it was sometime in college when I was visiting Jeremy in Gainesville, or perhaps it was sometime in the year 2000 when we moved to Gainesville for the first time for graduate school. I also couldn't tell you what my first experience at UCG was like, other than I know it was a positive one. Our attendance at UCG was sporadic during graduate school, and then in 2004, when we were finished, we moved away from Gainesville. But just a year later, we were back for the second time. And with the birth of our firstborn that year, we ended up attending UCG fairly regularly. This stretch of time when Kadian was in her first 6 months, my feelings about UCG were solidifying, and I found myself creating this new paradigm for religion. My church growing up was congregational and not too different on paper from UCG, but it certainly didn't feel the same. Not that my hometown church was a negative experience, it just never felt quite right to me. So my resistance to attending services as a kid was still my first reaction as an adult. And yet I could feel some sort of pull, some sort of peace once I was in the doors here. Attending UCG became one of those first activities for our family of 3. However, 6 months later, we moved away from Gainesville to Vermont. 4 years go by, 2 more kids arrive, and we hadn't set foot in a church. In 2010, we decided to move back to Gainesville, and if you're keeping track, this was the 3rd time. Now, 2010 was the year for me to officially become a member of UCG. It's right here on my name tag. And our family was all in for all things UCG. We sat back in that room with baby Max, and then before I knew it, all of our kids were in United Tribes. And just watching our kids being doted on by the child care aides and seeing other families that were simultaneously raising their kids at UCG, I felt this deep sense of security and belonging and love. In that season of our lives where someone or many people in this place were taking care of us as a family, my thoughts were always on how to return that favor. Honestly, we probably didn't pledge much, if at all, in those early years. We would let our kids put any cash we had into the collection plates, but that may have been about it. So I gave what I had to offer, my time. I volunteered as an adult guide in the United Tribes. I joined the Board of Children's Ministry. I joined the Euchre small group, the Bridge small group. I'm quite competitive. I liked the games. And Jeremy and I also joined a movie and lunch group a time or two. Thinking back, we may have done this before kids during our first stint in Gainesville. But whatever the timing, I was truly seeing and living the benefits of just a small portion of what our church had to offer. 3 years of raising small kids and being part of UCG flew by, and before we knew it, we were once again leaving Gainesville to start a new chapter in Montana. This time, however, we both felt the absence of UCG in our lives in a big way. It was just an immense feeling. We tried the 3 most progressive churches in Billings, Montana, and none felt quite right, or really not at all right. After 6 years of Montana life in 2019, we made the tough and in some ways easy decision to move back to Gainesville, and this was the 4th time. So here we are, and I didn't mean to bore you with a quick and dirty version of our moves across the country, but I do have a point. I've always had this obsession with the notion of home, with what makes a home, with where I want my home, with how I want my home to look and feel. As a teenager, I thought this would be in my hometown in Maine, near the ocean, with all 5 of my sisters living nearby and sharing weekly meals with our large and happy families. This never came to fruition, and now the foundation of feeling at home is simply anywhere my husband and kids are. Upon this foundation, though, we've agonized, literally, over what else is most important to us. What can we sacrifice in order to achieve our most perfect form of home? You could have probably guessed this from how many times we've moved in the past 21 years. The common thread and pull weaving throughout our journey has been a solid community. Quite simply, UCG is it for us, and this is our reason for pledging. So.
Thank you, Jess. Good morning, everybody. I have 3 things to say really quickly. The best part, the toughest part, and the most important part. The best part is Jess and the other people who have come up here and shared their stories about what UCG means to them. Being on the stewardship committee, the best part is asking people to come up here because nobody ever refuses, because there's so many great stories. Another best part is to notice our progress on our pledge campaign, and the dial is moving all the way around here, and we've got a little ways to go. And now I'm going to tell you something you probably won't believe. There's almost as many people who have yet to respond who have already responded, which gets me to the toughest part. The toughest part for the pledge committee is contacting all of those people who have yet to respond, because our goal, our commitment to being on the stewardship committee is to contact and get responses from everybody that's associated with our church, and we're going to work very hard to do that. And that contacting starts later this week. So this week, this Sunday, today, tomorrow, it's very important, because if you've yet to respond, please, please, please do. And so therefore, that gets me to the most important part. If you respond, whether you can pledge anything or not, the financial commitment is very important, but some people are having tough times. Just respond. Just let us know you still want to be connected, because if you respond, then the stewardship committee won't need to be calling, and that makes our life better and the church life better. So please respond. You can do it. There's a link in your email message that came today about this service. If you're having any trouble getting online to pledge, all you have to do is call the church office and leave a message for Catherine to call you back, and she will call you back. Or you can email Catherine, but Catherine will call you back if you just leave a quick message, and you and she together can talk about how much to pledge or whether you can pledge at all, and then you will have responded. So thank you very much. Please respond.